Blog Talk Radio.
What's going on, folks? It's your boy Long Beach Joe, and I am back at it again. I'm back at it again, man. Listen, boy, oh boy, the New York Jets are coming off of a terrible loss to the Browns. We're going to be discussing that. We're also going to be discussing some other things that have happened here, roster moves and things that have gone on. Man, I watched the Browns come into the building, or the Browns, we went into their building, and the Browns clinched a playoff win by beating us. What an awful, awful game on Thursday night, man. Whoa. Well, we're going to get into it all. All right. Call in 515-602-9639. Also going to be talking about how trash Blog Talk is. Oh, Lord. Again, 515-602-9639 is the number. Call in. We're taking all callers. I'm hyped up. Let me go ahead and get into the show. Listen, I am the man of the people. I'm here for the people. Let me shamelessly promote my Facebook page. Everyone go on Facebook, search The Long Beach Joe Show. Like that page. My content's up there. Go ahead and give it a listen. Message me. I'll message you right back. I love going back and forth with you folks about this football team. Also, leave me some feedback. I love hearing about what you folks think I do here on The Long Beach Joe Show. Your boys also, okay, on Twitter as well. Going over to Twitter, type in @The Long Beach Joe, @The Long Beach Joe on Twitter. Go ahead and follow me. I'll follow you right back. We can go back and forth, especially in a time like this, okay? In a time like this where the Jets are looking horrific, we need to band together as much as possible, all right? Your boys also on iTunes as well. Go ahead on over to iTunes. Type in The Long Beach Joe Show. Subscribe to the podcast on iTunes. Give me a 5-star rating. Let me know how you folks feel about what I'm doing. Leave me some feedback. And I appreciate all of y'all that do that, okay? It means a lot to me. Helps the show get out there, all right? And I appreciate everybody that does that, okay? I'm also, all right, on YouTube as well for those of you that do not know. I'm on YouTube. Oh, yes, I am, okay? So if you want to check me out, you know, we watched the Browns game together last night. Salute to all the savages in the chat. Come on over to YouTube. Type in Long Beach Joe Jets. Long Beach Joe Jets on YouTube, okay? Subscribe, all right? Hit that notification bell so when I post content, you folks will be in the know, all right? Hit that notification. Press all, okay? And give the videos a thumbs up. A lot of people fall into checking your boy's YouTube channel out. They're shocked, all right? They're like, whoa, Joe, we didn't know you go live. We didn't know you do the show live. Yeah, I do all that. I post content and all that over there. Long Beach Joe Jets, okay? And salutes to the ladies out there, okay? Ladies, I see you, all right? A lot of them saying, Joe, you're handsome. We didn't know that we like the takes. We like the show. We love the Jets too, but we didn't know you look so good. Salutes to you, ladies. And I want to thank you. I'm not an arrogant guy. I'm just working with what I got, okay? So salutes to all the ladies out there that's appreciating your boy, all right? I appreciate you as well. Again, Long Beach Joe Jets on YouTube. Subscribe. Hit that notification bell. Share it with your friends and your family. All right? And guess what? When you come over here to YouTube, keep in mind, you're going to have to deal with some people, okay? My chat. And I call my chat the savages. You want to know why? They're savage. Just know, you're going to be dealing with them. Trust. If they don't like your take, they're going to let you know, okay? Nobody's safe, not even me. Not even me. If they don't like my take, they let me know too. All right? So, with all that said, it's time to get into it. All right? The New York Jets got beat by the Cleveland Browns on Thursday night. And it was embarrassing to watch, let me tell you, man. The Browns beat the Jets 37-20. We'll be getting to all the callers tonight. The lines are hot. Again, 602-9639 is the number. Call in. Crazy. Blog Talk actually works this week. Blog Talk is trash as well. Let's you know what, Blog Talk, let me take a break from the Jets just for a second. Blog Talk, you're flush. You're flushed. How long have I been having to deal with Blog Talk and its nonsense not working properly so that we can get together and host these shows properly, okay, where I can hear from the people? That's what I do this for. I love all Jets fans through and through, all right, regardless of whether I agree with your position or don't agree with your position or your opinion, all right, no matter where you come from, who you are, what you do, okay, I love all of you. We bleed green here through and through, and Blog Talk has frequently got in the way of me being able to connect with you folks recently, and I don't like it. Blog Talk, you're trash. Trash. I just wanted to put that out there, but it's working tonight. I'm shocked. We'll be doing more Blog Talk bashing as the show continues to play out. I want to get that off my chest. I got a lot of frustration, in case y'all didn't know. Browns beat the Jets 37-20. The defense struggled mightily in the first half, okay? The Browns came out straight out the gate, okay, and went straight down the field and scored. You want to know why? Because we could not stop David Njoku. Couldn't stop him. Keep in mind, there's no Amari Cooper. There was no Amari Cooper. He was not playing. That's their big weapon. There was no Amari Cooper. He was not playing. He was out for the game. So when you look at this, the only real credible weapons that they have outside of the running backs, I'm talking about in the receiving game, right, the wide receiver, it's Elijah Moore and then the guy, David Njoku. I talked about this. He's their big weapon. We got to make sure that he doesn't go off. That man had over 100 yards in the first quarter. He had 6 catches for 134 yards to end the game. He did have one fumble. C.J. Mosley smacked him, but he dominated us early. It was insane. It was insane to watch that. I couldn't believe it. This guy is running around wide open in our secondary. Nobody can stop him. No adjustments to stop him either. Sauce talked about after the game, hey, you know, our game plan, I was going to follow Amari Cooper all around in our game plan, but he didn't end up playing. So then why didn't you follow Elijah Moore around? Because Elijah Moore, 5 catches, 61 yards, he had a touchdown. He beat DJ Reed. Why didn't you put Sauce Gardner on Elijah Moore? Why wasn't there more of an effort to do something about David Njoku? Why wasn't he doubled? There was no Amari Cooper. We should have made the Browns throw to anybody else early. Anybody else except for David Njoku. You're not going to beat us with him. That's what you're not going to do. Couldn't get it done. Jermaine Johnson had a big play. He actually caught an interception. He was rushing Joe Flacco, put his hands up, knocked the ball, took the ball up, caught it, right? Caught the pick, ran it back for a touchdown. And we all, at least I felt watching the game like, oh, man, this is some momentum shift. Things are going to start happening for us. You know, something to get us back into the game. Let's get rolling. Let's build on this. And then a couple plays later, Jerome Ford runs in a 50-yard touchdown after a catch. Broken tackles left and right. The New York Jets could not tackle in this game. Couldn't tackle. I watched Ford shrug off Tony Adams, throw off another Jets defender, and just drag people into the end zone. It's insane. It was insane. Guys' bodies just dropping. Nobody can stop them. Mind-blowing. Joe Flacco, 19 of 29, 309 yards. I'm going to say it. 19 of 29, he had 309 yards on the day. 3 TDs and an interception. The Browns had over 360 yards of total offense at the half against the Jets. Half. It's embarrassing. Keep in mind, the Jets had opportunities as well. They dropped like 3 interceptions. Dropped like 3 of them. I will say the Jets' defense did play better in the second half, but the damage had been done. The damage had been done. The lack of adjustments, the penalties that we saw as well in this game, and I'll get to that in a second. It was atrocious. An atrocious performance. Then you go over to the offensive side of the ball, and we'll get to the lines in just a second. I want to hear from y'all. 914-845, 908 other new callers. I'll get to you in a second. 515-602-9639. That is the number. Blog Talk is working tonight. I am shocked. Blog Talk, round of applause for you for finally getting something together. Let's give them a hand. They've been so trash. Not too much, studio audience. I don't pay you enough, especially not to clap for Blog Talk. I will definitely not pay you for that. You're not getting paid for clapping for those clowns. The Jets offense missed opportunity after missed opportunity after missed opportunity. Over and over and over. Couldn't get it done. We scored on our first drive, and then the offense went dead after that. Let me take you guys through a sequence. Izzy Anabanakanda fumbles early, right? Fumbles on a kickoff return. That was frustrating to watch. The Browns get the ball on the 12-yard line, okay? So I'm thinking, hey, this is pretty much a touchdown for them. No. The Jets defense is able to get a stop. Turnover on downs. Okay, because the Browns went for it on the fourth. All right, cool. Siemian gets the ball. Jets offense comes back out, and I'm hyped, right? I'm hyped. Hey, we got the ball back. We didn't give up any points. It was a disastrous fumble, but our defense saved us here. Now we can get some things rolling. Oh, no. A couple plays after that, Siemian comes out, runs a couple plays, drops back on the Jets 19, throws a ball. It's a pick six, and the Browns take it back for a touchdown. That's the type of night it was. Trevor Siemian was 32 of 45, 261 yards throwing the ball. 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Garrett Wilson had 50 yards as well. He dropped a touchdown. Breece Hall actually did work. We rode a lot with Breece Hall. 13 carries, 84 yards. He had 42 yards in the passing game as well. He had 126 yards of total offense from the line of scrimmage. Our O-line struggled. Becton struggled. 3 penalties, 1 sack. And you know what was killing me, right, as I'm watching this? And again, we'll get to the lines. Myles Garrett, as we know, is literally one of the top pass rushers in the league. He's up there with your Bosa's and, keep naming names. They allowed him to single up with Mekhi Becton over and over and over and over and over and over again. And there was no help from the tight ends. Where's the offensive adjustment? Where's the offensive adjustment in the game plan, right? To have Mekhi Becton be helped out. Where's the tight end to come and help chip Myles Garrett? Where's it at? When was that going to take place? When was Nathaniel Hackett going to wake up and go, hey, Myles Garrett, their best pass rusher, he's getting off. Let's put somebody over there to help Mekhi Becton. Why didn't that happen? Zardarius Smith did his business as well. Every time Trevor Siemian dropped back, it seemed like there was somebody in his face. And he was just trying to dink and dunk his way. Couldn't get that done either. The Browns were sniffing that out. It was wild to watch, man. No adjustments offensively, nothing. Just go out there and do your thing. Even with all the shenanigans that I'm discussing, again, we'll get to the lines right after this point. 515-602-9639. The lines are open. I'm talking to everybody tonight. We'll get to everybody. Trust. Hold on, callers. Trust me. It was 20-34 in the fourth quarter. We've got the ball. We're driving down, and we have a chance to bring this to 1 score. It's 4th and 1. We can't convert on the 4th and 1. And we're thinking, hey, the game's over. Game's over, baby. We gave it our best try. It's done. And then all of a sudden the refs come out. There's a flag down on the field. They've done a look. They say, hey, Browns had 12 men on the field. They showed a replay, and in fact it was a Browns player trying to get off the field, but he was on the field when the ball was snapped. The Jets get new life. We're back tight. Hey, we got a first down off this penalty. They've made a massive mistake. After the penalty, we're on the Browns' 20-yard line. Let's get rolling. If we get a score here, we're down one score. With all the shenanigans that have gone on, we're down one score. One. We're back in business. First play after that first down is a pass to Gibson for -2 yards. Pittman gets a penalty for a false start that pushes us back 5. The drive ends with Siemian getting sacked and Greg Zuerlein kicking a 44-yard field goal. That's the type of night it was. That's the type of night it was. The New York Jets were yet again heavily penalized. 12 penalties for 74 yards. 12 penalties for 74 yards. Yet again, the Jets are heavily penalized. We're just coming off of a game where we had 14 penalties, I think, for 150 yards. What in the world is going on here? Why can't the Jets not be heavily penalized in a game? You can't win like that. But we keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. It's mind-blowing. We also had a blocked field goal in the game. Our special teams, again, fumbled on a return. It was bad. And this is a game where I got to watch a Cleveland Browns team, a Cleveland Browns franchise that is known for being clownish, cartoonish, that is known for bumbling and fumbling their way through things, that is known for being a dysfunctional franchise. I watched them with Joe Flacco beat the Jets and celebrate clinching a playoff berth. Think about this. The Cleveland Browns, one of the most laughable teams in the NFL. The Cleveland Browns, one of the most laughable franchises in the NFL, have been to the playoff twice in these last 13 years, and the Jets haven't been once in the last 13 years. Type of night it was. 515-602-9639 is the number. Call in. I'm taking all callers. We're going to the callers. Also, Dwayne Brown is on IR if anybody cares. He's got a back issue. He's done for the season. I mean, come on. This is what it is, man. It is what it is. And nothing, I know Jets fans are screaming about firing Sulla, so on and so forth. He's not getting fired. He's already gotten a vote of confidence from Woody Johnson. He's going to be here next year. And I've been telling y'all, for these last couple months. Aaron Rodgers went down. They're not going to change anything until Aaron Rodgers comes back next season, and they're going to see what they can accomplish with him. And if they don't, then maybe there'll be a change. But unless Aaron Rodgers wants that change to happen, baby, it ain't happening. Okay? It ain't happening. I'm going to get to these lines again. 515-602-9639. 515-602-9639 is the number. Call in. I am taking all callers. Keep in mind when you call in, all right, there's no cursing on my show. Don't call into my show cursing, okay? It's not happening. This is YouTube. This is a platform, okay? Please respect my platform because I do not want to have to move on from anybody. All right. Also, make sure you have a good phone connection. I need to be able to hear you for my new callers because I want to hear from everybody. Okay. Make sure your connection is good. Make sure your connection is free of background noise as well. All right. I don't know what to say. We're getting to the lines. 515-602-9639. Again, 602-969 is the number. Call in. Please subscribe. Hit that notification bell. Give the video a thumbs up. If you want to give to the platform, Super Chat is up there. Cash App is at the bottom of the screen. First caller we're going to David, 315. Jake will come to you next. Steve, I see you. New callers as well. We'll get to everybody tonight. Hold on, okay? Trust. We're getting to everybody tonight. Now we're going to David. Let's see what David's got to think. David, salutes. I want to thank you for calling in tonight. David, man, give me your thoughts, okay? Jets get beat by the Browns 37-20. What are your thoughts on this performance that you saw on Thursday night?
Well, good evening, Joe. I'm first up to bat.
Yeah, you are. What's going on, man? How's it going? Hold on a second. Where's my manners? Hold on. First off, happy holidays. But for those of you that do not know David, he's a savage. Sorry, David. Go ahead, man.
Oh, that's all right, Joe. Thank you. I hope my call is worthy of such a pronouncement. Joe, I don't know where to start, so I'll just follow off of your lead and perhaps add in, my own opinion. There's so many ways we can go. I think the biggest thing is what happens when our team is in this state, and this is kind of a new state because you're more knowledgeable. That's why you got the show. You're more knowledgeable than me. Do you know of any time in Jet history where a player, even at the level of Aaron Rodgers, could have that much political clout to be the stabilizer of a coaching staff and at the performance of what we're seeing, as you well pointed out, the penalties, the undiscipline, the lackluster, the lack of the coaches to make adjustments in game time moments. There's so many ways we can go, and it just seems like when you give a pass to that, Joe, you're saying that we're going to enable this coaching staff to stay, and where is the motivation to adjust or to change in the future? And secondly, Joe, if you give the player like Aaron Rodgers that much power, he has to become some type of coach too, because your players, especially next year, Joe, they're not going to respect the coach because they're just going to look. They're going to know these are all professionals, so they think different than us. They're getting paid high money to perform, but they're going to know that their coaches are only here because of Aaron Rodgers. So anything that Salah or all his assistants say, Joe, and chat out there, it has to go through Aaron. How does that? How do we function like that, Joe?
Those are great questions, David. Those are great questions, and I want to answer that for you. I don't think we've never had a player of Aaron Rodgers' ilk. I mean, I'm talking about quarterback from a quarterback standpoint. Aaron Rodgers is the best quarterback we've ever had in our franchise history. That's a fact. Right now, he is. Here's the deal. We knew what we were getting into when we traded for him and when we brought him into this franchise. What Aaron Rodgers makes a realization for the Jets is the possibility to win a Super Bowl. That's what he symbolizes. He symbolizes what we've been trying to chase for years, ever since Joe Namath won his however many years ago. The New York Jets have not been in the playoffs in 13 years. That's the reason why we immediately hit that button, win now, when we traded that capital to grab him. And this was something that Woody Johnson talked about. And I want to go back to this because I always want to highlight this when people talk about the issues and the confidence of Zach Wilson and all those things. When they asked our owner in the offseason, what is the missing piece for the New York Jets? Live in front of everybody. He literally said, the piece that we are missing that will take us to the next step to compete is a quarterback. And when we made that move to get Aaron Rodgers, we tied ourselves to him in a way that I do not believe that Jets fans were thinking. And this is something I talked about as well. We hit the win now button. That's exactly what we did. Yep. When you go into win now mode, you can't make massive changes and think that you're still going to be able to win. You can't do it. Those guys that we're talking about firing, and listen, I'm here to listen. That's what I'm here to do. I want to hear from all Jets fans. I'm here to listen. And I've gone back and forth with many Jets fans about they want to fire him. They want to get rid of Joe Douglas. They want to get rid of everybody. Aaron Rodgers came here for those guys. If you get rid of any of them, he's gone and out the door. Here's the problem with that. You don't have the answer after he's gone. because Zach Wilson, to this point, is not the answer. There's nothing there. You can't even draft a quarterback in this year's draft because, first off, I don't think we'll have a pick that's close enough. Second off, we don't have the roster set up to support a young quarterback because you can't protect him.
Right.
We don't have any offensive linemen. You won't have to worry about him succeeding here. He'll be dead. They'll snap his spine and put him on the sidelines, too, with the torn Achilles as well. This is not between a rock and a hard place. We are very much in win-now mode, and we have tied ourselves to him. And there's no way of getting out of it. That capital we gave up for him, the first-round pick, and now the second-round pick is looking like it's going to be right. I believe that's what it is. If you get rid of him, you might as well have wiped your butt with that stuff. That's something that you could have utilized to continue to build the football team. Let's also keep in mind that I'm just talking about capital and stuff. What about the cap implications? He's owed like $100 million. Nobody's talking about that. This man is like, we have tied ourselves to Aaron Rodgers. And the reason why he came here was because of the stability of the Jets franchise. He liked Joe Douglas. He liked Robert Saleh, and we literally brought in Nathaniel Hackett. Of course, he liked him because they're running the offense that him and Hackett built together. If you make any changes to this offensive staff or to this offensive staff or the coaching staff, period, if you make any changes that he does not agree with, I'm very sure that Achilles is going to become more of an issue than it is. I'm very sure that Achilles may start to spark up, and maybe he walks away from football. What do you think that will do? Put us into a straight hole. And if he doesn't walk away, and this is something I want to bring up, and I want to hear from you. I've been telling Jets fans this too. I love Aaron Rodgers through and through. I watched him all throughout his time in Green Bay, and I've been telling Jets fans about this. One of the things I love about Aaron Rodgers is how he stands. Oh, he'll stand up. If you don't like something, he'll stand up and say it. I watched him get on a podium when he was in Green Bay and talk about how he didn't like how Green Bay treated former players. I watched him go on Pat McAfee, right, when we were making those trades, and literally completely blow up the trade capital or the trade leverage that Green Bay had. Anybody remember that? Anybody remember him sitting on that? Anybody remember him sitting on Pat McAfee's couch or sitting at wherever he was on Pat McAfee's show and telling the entire world, I told Green Bay publicly, I'm telling them publicly now, but I told them personally, I do not want to play for you ever again. I also told them I don't want to play for any other team that you think you're just going to send me to. I also told them that I only want to play for the New York Jets. And guess what you have to do? Stop trying to get more trade capital for me. Take what's on the table and let me up out of here. That's literally what he did. Now, we were all rejoicing, right? Because it was working in our favor.
I was.
We were. Remember that? Okay. I remember. Here because I want to hear from you. Let me tell you something. Aaron Rodgers has a hand in the media that a lot of other players don't have. They don't have. If he does not like anything that we do, he can go to Trey Wingo and say, hey, listen, Trey, start leaking stuff to the media about how, I really don't like what the Jets are doing here. They lied to me. They're setting me up for failure. Because if you blow all the coaching staff up, you're literally blowing everything up. We're going back into another rebuild with another GM and all that stuff. He's not the guy that's going to stay here for a rebuild. I highly doubt that. He's not a bridge rebuilding quarterback. He's made that very clear. He wants to compete to win Super Bowls. He can go to Trey Wingo. Trey Wingo will start talking to the media. He can sit on the Pat McAfee show like he does every Tuesday and tell the world the New York Jets have screwed me over. I came here to help this franchise. They fired all the guys that I came here for, and they're setting me up so that we're going to be a 4 or 5 win team this upcoming years, and I don't want to be here anymore. And that will open the door for him to be gone. We are in win-now mode. There is no making decisions without Aaron Rodgers being consulted. That's the truth. And I didn't want to go on forever, but I want everybody to realistically understand this. Like, we are in a situation right now. And listen, I love Aaron Rodgers. I think that we're a much better team with Aaron Rodgers on the field. I don't think this season would have gone the way it is if Aaron Rodgers was healthy. But the idea of making massive changes is not happening if Aaron Rodgers does not sign off on it. It is not happening. It's not. Even when he's been asked questions this offseason about him returning, this was before Woody Johnson's vote of confidence publicly. The media asked him, was him returning based on the return of Sulla. He wouldn't answer the question, but he did say, I think we have a winning format with those guys here. And he's continued to show his love and support throughout this entire offseason, throughout the entire time. He's here for them. We can't make sweeping changes. We can't. We've tied ourselves to this. And we're going to see it through, whether we like it or not. We're going to see it through. And my final point, and I'll throw it back to you because I want to get your thoughts on this. If you think that Woody Johnson is going to make any kind of change so that Aaron Rodgers may not be here, you're crazy. He wants to sell 8 jerseys as much as possible. He wants to sell jerseys, and he also wants to sell tickets. And he knows that as long as Aaron Rodgers is here, as long as 8 is in the building, those tickets and jerseys will sell. Give me your thoughts on what I said, David. Do you believe there's any truth to it, or do you think it's nonsense?
Well, Joe, I agree with about at least 90% of what you said, and it's bleak, but yet it's very truistic. I think it's a matter of us Jet fans accepting the points you just made, but even way more important than our acceptance as fans, the players need to accept what you just described. I think they already know that because they're intuitive, they're smart in their own way in their life. They're not just great football players. I'm sure they understand the politics of the football that they're in from each particular team, and I think they see what you just described. Here's my only fear is, as you well said, we have to go with Aaron. Woody wants the money. They can sell the off season. Time heals wounds. So as they go through the winter process, then they can begin the hype of winning the preseason, winning the propaganda of through the newspapers and the television, promoting the team's hopes and dreams of 2024. But if we don't succeed in 2024, and if anything similar happens again, God forbid an injury, or we just can't get the offensive line right, Aaron can't get protected, we can't get that right, all our good young players are going to run for the hills in 2025, re-sign other areas, and then Aaron won't come back because he wouldn't be able to handle a whole year and then fail, so he would leave. And I think that would leave us, Joe, starved for at least 4 to 5 years, cleaning house and rebuilding, and it would be bleak. So, yeah, Joe, we got to succeed. We got to ride with this. I agree with you. We have to make the playoffs next year. Aaron's got to be healthy. We got to strengthen that offensive line somehow, some way, patch it back together, and then they got to believe. And you know what? They got to believe in Aaron, and I think they do. But it has to work. You know what I'm saying, Joe? If it doesn't work, we're in for it. But if it works, and the 2024 could be better than what we hope this year would have been, then I think we're good. We're going to have some golden years. What do you think to that?
And I think that's a very good take as well. My thought on it is this. I know a lot of Jets fans are saying, there's some Jets fans that are saying Super Bowl or bust next year. I understand that thought process. Even the guys in the organization, the staff, Joe Douglas and Robert Sulla, have talked about Super Bowl expectations. Aaron Rodgers himself has talked about that. I know a lot of people are talking about playoffs, that the Jets have to make the playoffs. I could see the Jets, if they win 10 games, possibly not making the playoffs, and Aaron Rodgers and these guys still returning the next season. I could see that. I think there has to be a marked improvement. There has to be a marked improvement. For me, making the playoffs is definitely I would look at that as like that's a goal that they have to shoot for. But I could see, even if the Jets miss the playoffs, they're a game out or something like that, or things just fall away where they, again, win 10 games and still make the playoffs, that they'll be back. But I think listen, Aaron Rodgers is going to do a lot of recruiting this coming off season, a lot of recruiting. And I think a lot of people I think a lot of people also discount that great quarterback play hides a lot of things, right? And I'm going to be talking to Jets fans all night tonight as well. We talk about people talk about wanting to fire Robert Sulla. Tom Brady was at the Patriots, and he covered up his quarterback play, covered up a lot of stinky stuff with the Patriots. And the second that he left, you saw all of that in real time. Right. You saw how bad that offensive line was. You saw how some of the offensive decisions don't make much sense. You saw, and even though the Patriots spanked us this season, you see like that they don't look as good with Tom Brady. So that's what I think a lot of people aren't understanding as well, that great quarterback play, the type of quarterback play that I believe Aaron Rodgers would bring to us will hide a lot of our deficiencies in a lot of other areas because he's so smart. He makes a lot of great decisions, and it is what it is. You talked about it. You hinted towards it, talking about the coaching, right? Who's going to respect the coaches? We know. We've seen this already. Aaron Rodgers literally is the offensive coordinator. He is the coach. We've seen it.
And the players know
we know that Nathaniel Hackett.
You know it, and they know it.
This is not real. we know it, right? Like we were told one thing, and Nathaniel Hackett, he calls the plays, but we know that Aaron Rodgers has carte blanche. We know that when he goes out there on that field, that he can check in and out of everything.
Right?
He has a carte blanche to change it all. So
change it in
we're
a moment.
seeing that. Exactly, and we're seeing that right now because we see the lack of adjustments and how often Nathaniel Hackett can't change his scheme enough or can't put a game plan together that's solid enough to fit around other quarterback skill sets. That's why we struggle with Zach Wilson and all these other things because often the play calling is behind. So it's going to be a very interesting offseason. I will say that. We'll be talking about that.
Thanks, Joe. You answered my question. I think I'll be listening. But, I think we got to ride Aaron. It's 2024, and we got to buy in, believe in, and we got to endure this and stay faithful, stay on course, and just believe the hype because they're going to hype it. Aaron's going to hype it. He's going to do, like you say, to get the players, do behind-the-scenes things. And we just got to hope because, as you well said a few moments ago, there is no other option. So, Joe, thanks for the vine. Go Jets.
Thank you.
I kind of hope we lose next week, Joe. I don't know. Am I wrong? Even though the Patriots, I hate the Patriots, Joe. But if we lose, do we get? Is it worth it? Give me your final thoughts before I hang up. Do we lose?
Quickly, I'm not. I made it very clear. I understand some people want to tank. I've never been with the tank. We'll just see what happens. I'll do a show coming up and we'll talk about.
All right, I'll look forward to that, Joe.
Absolutely. Thank you, David, for calling.
All right,
you
good
have
night.
yourself a good one. Listen. We're going to keep getting to these lines again. 515-602-9639. 515-602-9639 is the number. Call in. I'm taking all callers. Look, I'm beside myself now. This loss to the Browns is very, very upsetting. Okay? And especially when we're talking about the future of this franchise. I love Aaron Rodgers, and there's a lot of things that I think a lot of people are not thinking about or talking about. And I've got to get it out there. But I want to hear from y'all. Okay? 515-602-9639 is the number. Call in. Next! I'm going to Jake. We're going to Jake. Steve, you'll be next. Other new callers will come to you in a second. For those of you that do not know, all right, this man, Jake, he's a savage. He's a savage, man. Yeah. Jake, salutes. I want to thank you for calling into the show, Jake. What a performance by the Jets against the Browns. Jets lose 37-20. Give me your thoughts about this game, man, and what are your thoughts about what you saw from the coaching staff?
Well, Joe, it's been a few weeks. Happy holidays. Hope everything's been good.
Happy holidays to you as well.
Yeah. Joe, I'm going to actually turn it to another question. Are you ready to say that Mekhi Becton's a bust?
Mekhi Becton definitely has had a rough couple of games. Is he a bust? I mean, he had some great games starting the season, but these last couple of games have been rough. So we'll see.
Joe, do you just have some allegiance to him you're not going to get rid of? Because everybody across the board will tell you the guy's a bust. So what is it that...
No, I just told you he's not playing well. I just told you he's not playing well at all. He's not playing well to finish the season. No, he's not.
Is he coming back? Is he coming back?
Will he come back? Will the Jets re-sign him? I don't know.
Do you think the Jets should
bring him back? I could see them doing that because there's a lot of transformation that's going to have to be done on this offensive line. And if there is, then I don't know if you can put Super Bowl or bust on two rookie tackles and maybe a rookie left guard. But Becton definitely is not playing well at all. You can consider him a bust because he's not playing well right now at all to finish the season whatsoever. And this was a big season for him.
He is a bust.
Go ahead.
He's not one of the top left tackles. I think you're extremely been wrong for weeks about this, and I just don't know what it's going to take to admit that he is a bust. He's not coming back.
Yeah, he's not playing well.
He's not worthy of being a starter. He's not, Joe, he's not a few games, man. He's not been good his whole career. Let's just admit it now already. Come on, man.
No, that's not true. If you look at the earlier in the season, he played well. Look at our big games. He played well against Kansas City. He played well against a game in Philly. He played solidly. Now, these last, 3, maybe 4 games, he hasn't been playing well. Lots of penalties. He's given up sacks. Yeah, he hasn't played well. He's not playing well to finish the season. At the start of the season, he was much better than he is now. That's a fact.
Okay, so when we sign him for $20 million and he's this Pro Bowl talent, I'll just assume that's this, magical idea in your head, because I think it's beyond insanity to bring him back right now. He's just not coming back.
I never said that I would.
Joe, you said he was the
right
top
now
5
left
tackle in the league, and no one
I thought he would.
At all. You're the only person. So I asked, what is it? Is it allegiance to him, or is it just you won't?
No.
I mean, I don't know what it is anymore. I really don't know what it is. He got absolutely blown up. And your argument about Myles Garrett, dude, if he's a top 5 left tackle, then get it done. Get it done. It's excuses. It's laziness.
If he's a top, I'll let you finish.
Sure.
Go ahead.
No, we should have drafted Tristan Wirfs. I'll keep saying it every single week. I'll say it for the test of the day I die. Tristan Wirfs is better than him. Andrew Thomas is better than him. Jedrick Wills is better than him. Mekhi Becton is a bust. That's why we're talking Joe Alt for weeks. That's why beating the stupid Redskins last week was dumb, because we could have had a shot at him. Is what we need right now. Yeah, we should maybe trade down and get more linemen, but you need that position. We're so screwed right now. And I'm just not going to sit here and continue with this. He's a bust, bro. I just don't get it anymore. Oh.
Listen, I just told you he's not playing well. No, you can consider him a bust. He's not playing well. I'm not saying that we should resign him now. I thought that he would be better coming into the season. And he was better. At the start of the season, he was much better than he is right now. But as we're finishing the season, he's not playing well at all. Should the Jets bring him back? Probably not. But at the end of the day, guess what? There's a chance that they could. Hold on. Let me finish. There's a chance that they could. If they don't, then you're going to be going with 3 rookie linemen to come into this next season. And there's Super Bowl expectations and playoff expectations as well. That's a lot to put on rookie linemen. Those guys are going to have to be expected to stand up against the Eagles, stand up against the Chiefs, and all these other great pass rushers, which means that there's going to be a lot of things that Joe Douglas is going to have to do. I've talked about that as well, too, in the offseason. They're going to have to go out, and there's a chance that he's going to mortgage stuff for the future to move up and grab guys like Joe Alt and a lot of the other guys I've been talking about. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Jets don't bring him back. But, yes, I absolutely said that. I'm on record as talking about how much I like Mekhi Becton. That's a fact.
Okay. Well, I mean, we're not just going to be getting rookies. We're going to have to get veterans, like true veteran linemen in this offseason. That's going to be the priority this entire offseason, which is why Mekhi Becton can kick rocks and go get paid by the Raiders for all I care at this point. He's not coming back. Mm-hmm. Like, it would be
well, I mean, yeah, I mean, well, here's the deal, though. You're talking about signing guys in the offseason. If you want to sign these top tackles, how are you going to pay for them? How are you going to do that? Because we also need to bring Huff back as well. Huff is great now as one of the top pass rushers.
Coming off the... Yeah, all right. Okay.
Huff is great now as one of the top pass rushers, right? Huff is great now as one of the top pass rushers. That's a lot of money to pay him. A lot of these guys in the offseason that we're talking about, these guys are going to get paid to the nose. Any top offensive lineman that is coming out in this upcoming free agency class is going to get paid. I don't think we have enough to pay them. You're going to have to draft quite a bit of linemen to come in here. You're going to, because they're going to be cheaper.
Yeah.
So this idea, like even people are talking about, like Bakhtiari, is that a guy that you want to come to the Jets?
I would if he wasn't injury prone like Becton. So no.
Yeah.
They're both injury prone.
That's what a lot of people are screaming.
They both have been injured the last few years. I mean, that's the reality. Both of them. Both of them have been injured the last few years.
Mm-hmm.
I want guys that are going to stay healthy, period. And these guys don't stay healthy. That's a whole hard fact.
I'll tell you what, the guys that are going to be out there in free agency, you're going to have to pay out of your nose for. The last thing you want to do is go into free agency. You have to grab a left tackle from free agency, a guy that come in and start. it's going to be tough to sign one of those guys. That's why I think Joe Douglas is going to address that position in the draft. That's why I think. And yes, again, I'm going to tell y'all, and y'all know I love Mekhi Becton. I do. He's not playing well. He's not playing well, and I've been honest about it. He's not playing well these last couple of games. Boy, oh boy, has it been rough for him. Now, as we continue to talk about this, though.
Well, his whole career, we'll leave it for another day.
His whole career has not. See, this is the thing, Jay. This is the thing. You do not. You're never fair when it comes to him. He has not been bad his whole career. His rookie year, he was phenomenal. He stuffed a bunch of top pass rushers. He looked really, really good. You keep saying his whole career he's been bad. He hasn't. He was injured for 2 years with that knee injury. He just came back this year. Look good. 25 is having a rough end to the season.
That's a great mindset to bring him back. That's a great mindset to bring him back when we need him for the most important season of our Jets' careers coming up. The next upcoming, he's not going to be there. I would rather draft somebody or I'll go overpay for somebody. I will spend every dollar of this salary cap if that's what it's going to take to get Rodgers protection. I don't get it. The Chiefs did it. The Chiefs did it, and it worked well for them. It worked well for them. But whatever.
We'll see. Because again, I mean, we'll see. We'll see what the Jets do with him going forward. Okay. Again, I wouldn't be surprised if he's brought back, but I definitely wouldn't be surprised if he's let go as well. I want to talk to you about what we're seeing out here as far as the coaching. There's a lack of adjustments, and I'm starting to hear from a lot of other Jets fans that feel like that these things that we're seeing are things that Aaron Rodgers cannot fix, right? We're seeing a lot of issues with penalties as well, which people also account to the coaching as well. Like I just told you, the lack of adjustments. What are your thoughts about what you're seeing from Saleh and his coaching staff?
It's all coaching. Robert Saleh is an undisciplined coach. Let's just get it out of their system right now. He does not know. He is too afraid to be mean to his players. And it's the inmates are running the asylum, and that's what's happening. Okay, 12 penalties, 14 penalties, 11 penalties, 12 penalties, 10 penalties every single freaking week. I mean, at what point do you blame the coach? You blame the coach. And even last night, like, I barely even watched the game because I was just like, I don't want to waste my time with this. I mean, they even asked him and said, why aren't you angry? I was like, what, do you want me to make me throw the podium or something? I'm like, yeah, buddy. Like, start yelling at these guys. Start getting aggressive. He's a wuss. He's a wuss. And let me be frank here, that right now, this year, ladies and gentlemen, this is what you're going to see when Aaron Rodgers is not here anymore. So does this look like the guy you want running your team when Rodgers is not here anymore? Is this the guy you're going to trust with a new quarterback? Is this the guy you're going to trust that's going to have discipline? Is this the guy? No. It's clearly simple. You know why? Because he doesn't have an offensive-minded – he's not offensive-minded. That's it. The offensive-minded coaches are going to the Super Bowl, period. It is such an antiquated mindset that we're continuing to believe that these defensive-minded guys are getting it done. Oh, Sean McDermott's going to go with Josh Allen this year. No, he's not. They're not winning. Okay? The Bills are barely squeaking by right now. It doesn't work. And the guys like geeky little Mike McDaniel and Kyle Shanahan, these are the guys that have chances at it because they're offensive. Kevin Stefanski with Joe Flacco, people. Like, my God. Like, were we talking about Joe Flacco last year being a statue? I mean, it's dear God, man. It's like, how do people not see this? But no, Saleh, he's great. He loves his players. He's Mr. Clean. He's wonderful. The players love him. Oh, yeah, that sounds like somebody. Oh, yeah, Todd Bowles. How did that pan out? Not very well.
I don't think he's Todd Bowles. Bad.
Todd Bowles.
I don't think he's as bad as Todd Bowles. No, he's not. I don't think he's as bad as Todd Bowles. There's been some issues here, right? But I don't think he's as bad as Todd Bowles, especially when, again, he hasn't had a quarterback level. Look, I understand a lot of people bashing Saleh because he's a defensive mind, he's a defensive coach. I think you can succeed with defensive coaches here, but there's a lot of issues that the New York Jets have had, particularly along the offensive side of the ball, especially with protection. Trying to figure out this offensive line situation has been big. Also, the stuff that we went through with Zach Wilson too, and we'll see what happens as we continue to work and go with him. But I think Sulla is a guy that can put things together, but I don't think that he's worse than Bowles. I don't think he's worse than Bowles. Todd Bowles had a lot of issues, a lot of stuff. I mean, even his defensive calls were just mind-boggling to me at times. Some of his usage of personnel defensively was mind-boggling. I don't think that Sulla has those issues. I don't. This defense has been on fire up until, there's been some games where, it's been down, like against the Browns. Clearly, we struggled. But for the most part, the defense has been the anchor for us since he's gotten here and figured things out defensively. So
the Miami Dolphins
I don't think he's
games,
bad as Bowles.
The Miami Joe, they were pitiful, absolutely torn apart by Mike Daniel. Even the games that they won, they were heavily penalized. Okay, when you're heavily penalized like that, I don't care how many sacks you get. You get penalties like that, you're going to lose games. It doesn't matter. You get 12, 13 penalties a week. It doesn't matter. Okay, Joe, let me ask you a question, Joe. How many defensive coordinators have won Super Bowls in the last 20, 30 years?
I can't think off the top of my head at all.
Besides Bill Belichick, and it's going to be Bill. I know what I'm going to say.
Like
Bill Belichick.
I know Belichick is definitely one of them.
Bill Belichick, who is the unicorn situation, and Pete Carroll. Who else? Nobody.
But again, listen, you can go through the halls. Just because you're a defensive mind doesn't mean you can't have success in this league or you can't make and win a Super Bowl. You just listen, Sean McDermott, the Bills are next up. They were dominating
That's what will happen. You'll go to a wild card game and lose.
They were dominating our division for quite a long time.
Are we paying to go to a wild card game and lose?
So those situations are just because you're not an offensive-minded coach, that doesn't mean that you can't succeed in the NFL. That's just not true. We've seen it. Look at our franchise history. If you look at one of the most successful coaches we've had here in recent memory, it was Rex. And Rex was a straight defensive-minded coach. Straight defensive-minded. And we went to 2 AFC championships back-to-back. So, come on. I hear what you're saying, but I think things have to come together in a certain way, and I think that there's just issues. And, again, I think this season would be much better if we had Aaron Rodgers. If we had Aaron Rodgers and the team was thinking like this, then, yeah, I could see people really continuing to jump on Sulla and calling him a horrific this and horrific that. But when you don't have Aaron Rodgers, who's the guy that was supposed to be running this offense, things kind of change quite a bit. And I think you're seeing what we're seeing right now. So
the year of the backup, man. Look at how many teams are playing with backup quarterbacks. We can't use that excuse anymore. The Browns are going with Joe Flacco. Okay, last night's game is the personification of what the Jets were neglected to do and what the Browns were able to do. I think that was the best prime example. If you wanted one takeaway, I think even somebody posted like today on ESPN or something, or I think Bleacher Report, the Browns game last night showed you exactly why the Jets could have maybe made the playoffs with this route, but they didn't. Because guess what? Kevin Stefanski is an offensive-minded coach that wins, and Robert Saleh is a defensive-minded coach who loses. That's the takeaway I got from it. Sorry. I'm not going to sugarcoat this anymore.
Well, listen, I hear you, Jake. I don't know. I don't agree with all your takes, but I hear what you're saying. I think that they tried with, that backup, Tim Boyle. I think that was their answer. And, again, Zach Wilson outperformed him in the offseason. And they just continue to go forward with him. And here we are. We're at where we're at right now. Having a backup quarterback, again, great backup quarterbacks don't grow on trees. That's one thing we do know, right? That's one thing we do know. And for everybody talking about Joe Flacco and all the great things he did here, he was a stiff for us when we had him, and he was actually out there playing. I remember you calling him, saying that he was terrible when he was here, and we were all okay with him moving on. And he went over there, and he's seeing success with him.
Joe, hold on. Hold on. You're completely missing my point. I know Joe Flacco's not a great quarterback, but guess what? You have an offensive-minded genius coach who knows what he's doing. Robert Saleh has no idea. I think if you gave him even Gardner Minshew, he probably wouldn't know what to do right now. Look at all these guys that are getting it done because they have offensive-minded coaches. And I'm not talking about, we had Adam Gase, so we should have made it work. No, we had a cast-off offensive-minded coach. We have no offensive guy that runs the system. It's not funny, bro. It's for real. Like, this is the reality.
No, I'm laughing I'm laughing because I was just about to talk about that as well, but you just cast that off because you're just saying, well, get an offensive-minded coach. They tried that with Adam Gase, and it didn't work out well. Listen, I understand what you're saying.
It's
but
a terrible example.
No, it's not a terrible example because
it is.
it's not because, again, just because you're a defensive mind doesn't mean you can't succeed in this league. That's not what that means at all. There have been other guys that have defensive minds that have succeeded in this league. I just talked about Rex Ryan. I just brought that up. He's a defensive mind, and he succeeded in this league. You don't have to have an offensive mind here, but things are not working, and it's mainly because of the offensive line. You're talking about Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco is being protected properly. Our quarterbacks are not.
Okay,
they're not.
So you want to talk about Rex Ryan? What happened when all their offensive talent went away? What happened when all the talent went away? He was horrible, and he got fired. So when all the talent's gone from Robert Saleh, is he going to do this? Is he going to build this all over again? Because right now it's not going too well.
Mm-hmm.
Entire full veteran team. And what happened to Rex Ryan? He faltered, got fired. He went to Buffalo. He got fired. Mm-hmm. So we can talk about the all great veteran team he had with a horrendous Mark Sanchez, and he made it work because he ran the ball and defense great. How many teams are succeeding with that right now? Not many. I haven't seen any in the Super Bowl done that. I want to maybe count the Niners, but guess what? You have an offensive-minded coach doing that. So I'm just divulging to that more.
Listen, I hear you. And there's other ways to play the game. You can run the ball. You can do all those things, play really solid defense. And, again, I think you can win in this league. But just sitting here is acting like, oh, well, it's just falling apart. It's like, hey, there's things that have gone on here. The issues along the offensive line have been a big hindrance stuff. ATV going down. Again, us not being able to fill in that right guard, right, Wes Schweitzer, all these guys going down. That has been the biggest issue on offense, the lack of protection, the lack of our offensive line being able to protect. That's the biggest issue. But, Jake, it's been a great call from you. I got to slide off because I got other callers. Next time I have a show, I want to hear from you, all right? I like going back and forth.
All right. Good night, Joe. Happy New Year.
You have a new one. Happy New Year. We're going to keep getting to these lines again, 515-602-9639. 515-602-9639 is the number. Call in. I want to hear from everybody. I'm yelling, going back and forth. We're arguing. Next! I'm going to 404. 404, I'm coming to you. Steve, Val, hold on. We're getting to everybody. 404 is my guy from Atlanta. For those of you that do not know, he is a savage. Salute, man. Listen, what's going on, man? Look, I'm going back and forth with everybody. The Jets get beat by the Browns 37-20. People want to fire Robert Saleh. I've talked about him. I've talked to people, tonight and told them, hey, that's not going to happen. Give me your thoughts about all of this, man.
Yeah, I think the criticism of Saleh is really kind of an overreaction. I think he's done a good job of not only just trying to steward the ship and make sure that people finish the season in a way to where you could say, okay, this is a professional unit that was worn down. Defensively, you've seen what it was the past couple of weeks. These guys have played way too many snaps. They've had to pull off way too many miracles to keep games close and to pull off a couple of wins. And just honestly, man, our season ended when A-Rod went down. Not just because A-Rod went down, also because of the amount of prestige A-Rod had in that building, making us take certain signings, which costed money, which made it difficult to replace him later in the season. When I think at a certain point, look, man, the front office, I think they were told no when they wanted to try to upgrade certain things on offense to try to have a chance to really win. And I think at a certain point, ownership just said no. And that's why, you get the explanation of, well, we got Tim Boyle and we really like Tim Boyle. Well, that's what you have to do after you can't spend any more money and upgrade. Why? Because we got those receivers that are somebody's friend on the roster who wouldn't be on the roster if they weren't his friend. And look, I'm not blaming A-Rod. This is like a worst-case scenario. I think A-Rod was fully bought in. I think if he played, this would have been a magical season, but it was just a tragic thing that happened. And he's probably wrong for trying to, get fans' hopes up that he would come back or something like that. But honestly, when you think about a guy like A-Rod, I think he believed it. I think he really believed that he would make it back at some point and be able to play despite having, such a terrible injury. But, like, when you got Tim Boyle out there and you're really saying, like, the coaching is an issue, like come on, man. At a certain point, X's and O's do not mean as much as Jimmy's and Joe's in the NFL. Like, yes, you can cover up for things. Yes, you can kind of, make lemonade sometimes, but come on, man. Just the talent disparity was obvious week to week. And, man, that defense played their heart out, man. Like, the games that they were able to win, man, like, just salute to those professional guys who have something to build on going forward. Now, can we get A-Rod back next year and get the band back and try to do it? Hey, you got no other choice. That's what we have to do. You draft a guy late and you roll with A-Rod and you see what you can do. But we know Breece Hall is a baller. We know Garrett Wilson is a baller. Like, we've got certain things lined up that we know are going to translate going forward. But my bad, Joe. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead. Listen, I hear exactly what you're saying, and that's why when I sit back and I'm talking to Jets fans, and again, I'm listening to everybody. I've had discussions, and there's Jets fans that want to fire everybody, including Joe Douglas. And I'm hearing it, and I'm telling people, just like something you just kind of talked about, if Aaron Rodgers doesn't want that to happen, it's not happening. If you do that, if you fire all of these guys and you get rid of them, get ready to start over again without Aaron Rodgers, because he's probably going to walk away. Because he's not going to want to be here if you're going to field a team that's basically going to be winning 4 games, 5 games a season because you're in a full-blown rebuild mode. And then you also got these young players as well that's going to walk away too. Your Sauce Garners, your Garrett Wilson. You already see Garrett Wilson is frustrated just how this season is going. I'm pretty sure he's not going to stick around either if you're going to blow this all up and get rid of Aaron Rodgers, especially again, you're in win-now mode. So I look at it like this, man. Like you said, we're going to get the band back together next season. Aaron Rodgers is going to recruit heavily this offseason to bring guys in here, and we're going to figure things out. Because that's the only way that you can really do it. Because if you try it any other way, it's going to go very, very different. It's going to go very, very different, and it can get bleak and get very dark. Now, my question for you, though, is one of the things that I'm very concerned with is the penalties and the undisciplined play. I'm very concerned with that here, and I want to get your thoughts on this because we had 12 penalties in this game, 74 yards. We gave up 14 penalties just a couple of games ago, 150 yards. What do you attribute the Jets being heavily penalized to? I mean, what is it coaching? Is it just the players doing something? Because at this point, is there something that you feel that Sella is not doing to address this issue? I mean, what are your thoughts on this all the way around?
Well, look, Jets fans are not going to like to hear this, but I'm just speaking from this is my eyes. Some of you probably have better football eyes than I do, so this is just me speaking from my own experience and watching for years. We probably should have got penalized more. Now, you say undisciplined. I say we're not only playing to the whistle, we're looking for every edge we can find. If you can hold. If you can get off early, get off early. We're trying to find every edge that we can, and sometimes your hands going to get caught in the cookie jar. Now, would this be necessary if we were fully loaded with A-Rod and then this was happening? No, then you'd be talking about a discipline issue because at that point you're making it hard for you to win games. But when you're when you have a talent disparity and you have to win by, hey, we flipped the field on this particular punt return, or we happen to get a 3-and-out during, the second quarter at the 9th minute, and that was the thing that turned the game. When the edges are that close, yes, you go almost 70s Raiders, man. You cheat as much as you can. You try to get away with as much as you can. And I will not knock Sila or the players for trying to do it. Because we've seen, how many teams we've seen lay down in a scenario like this by week 5 to where the rest of the season they're just getting blown out. They don't show up. This was none of that. This was guys fighting every week. Go look at the point spreads. for a team missing as much as they did, man, they had people horrified. Go pull up those 4 all-pro quarterbacks who had some of their lowest-rated games against the Jets. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I'm sorry, man, but these are some of the things you have to do when talent-wise, you know, yeah, you're at a disadvantage. So you got to try to find every edge you can. That's all I'll say.
Yeah. Listen, I got to slide off. I want to thank you for calling in. Next time I have a show, I want to hear from you, all right?
Most definitely, man. Have a good one. Happy New Year, Joe. Absolutely.
Same to you. Happy New Year's to you as well. We're going to keep getting to these lines. Again, 515-602-9639. 515-602-9639 is the number. Call in. I am taking all callers. All right? We're talking to everybody, and I want to hear from everybody. Next, we're going to Val. Val, we're coming directly to you. Steve will come to you next. Listen, for those of you that do not know Val, he's a savage. Val salutes.
Woo!
I'm here battling with people. I'm going back and forth. We're having a lot of heated discussions surrounding Robert Saleh, Jets offensive line. But I want to get your thoughts, man. Browns, Jets. Jets lose to the Browns 37-20. Give me your thoughts about that, man. Browns actually got into the playoffs with this win, clinched the playoff win. How are you feeling after watching this?
Well, first of all, happy holidays, Joe. Happy holidays to all
happy
the
holidays.
savage and everything. Man, listen, terrible game. Terrible game, terrible coaching. I don't blame the defense. Like I said it in the chat yesterday, man, listen, the defense has been showing up time and over again. This is basically like last year when we lost those 5 or 6 games, when we were supposed to only win 1 game and we would have been in the postseason, we wouldn't have to be talking about, oh, yeah, this is 13 years, you know, we haven't been in the playoffs. This coaching staff is terrible. And I somewhat agree with Jake, what he was saying as well, too. And it's not just the head coaching, you know, it's not just the coaching. It's also Joe Douglas. I don't hear no smoke for Joe Douglas as well, too, because he had a lot of misses when it comes to this team that he put together. Dalvin Cook, he's getting a lot of money. He's not playing like that. Alan Lazard, he hasn't shown up at all. You got rid of McCole Hardman from the beginning of the season because we don't know how to use him. I'm like, what is going on with this team, man? Like, is it the organization? Is it a Woody Johnson situation? It's like, bro, you were supposed to redshirt Zach Wilson. You were supposed to redshirt Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson was not supposed to touch the field, allegedly, that's what they said. And then, you know, just like how you see Minnesota, you see all these other teams, Minnesota, you see the Bengals, you see multiple teams out there. When their guy goes down, they're making as much moves as they could to, you know, prolong the season so they're not wasting their season or punting on the season like the Jets did this year. We just sat back and just said, you know what, we're going to just let everything go out as well, too. Then you got Dwayne Brown. We had him as a problem as well, too, from the beginning of this season, where on Hard Knocks, Aaron Rodgers was even complaining like, oh, man, we're getting so much sacks. Like what's going on with this offensive line? He was complaining since August, and they didn't make no adjustments. This is the problem with this coaching staff that I don't like. This is not a good coaching staff. And then you even – oh, go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, no, I'll let you finish. Go ahead.
Okay, no, I was just saying, basically, we seen what happened, and then this guy, he's 38 years old, Dwayne Brown, and he's not even playing at all. And he just came on the first game, and we was all saying, put Mekhi Becton at the left side to protect him because he has been playing. Get this guy, you know, situated into the new coaching staff and then, you know, the new system. And you've seen exactly what happened to Aaron Rodgers. He was not protected. They don't make no in-game adjustments. And then, you know, the Cowboys game was ridiculous as well, too. You got they didn't even know what Michael Parsons was. It was like, oh, we didn't know he was that fast. We were just going to watch film and stuff. Like, it's just terrible.
terrible. It's week after week after week with the same nonsense, man. And we're selling instead of buying. We're supposed to be getting players in here. We're actually selling. So we're punting on the season because they didn't have no plan B. They did not have no plan B. Everything shot them in the shot the whole plan out because everything was on Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers. Carson Wentz reached out. You got multiple backup quarterbacks that reached out, and they just sat there and just said, you know what? It's a lot of media that's going on. They're getting on us. Let's just go out and just get Trevor Siemian. When you had multiple people like Carson Wentz and other quarterbacks that reached out, and I'm just so pissed off with this team right now, man.
Here's that's why I wanted to let you finish here. I wanted to hear your full take. Here's the thing, and I want to go back to something you were touching on. I want to play devil's advocate here because I like having these type of discussions. I know a lot of people blame Joe Douglas for a lot of things, right? And I get it. He's the general manager. He's making a lot of these decisions. But he has hit on a lot of players, and I feel like people don't give him credit for that at all, right? You look at Sauce Gardner, Jermaine Johnson, Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, like those guys. Jeremy Ruckert. These are hits. Like these are guys that are coming in, and I understand that a lot of people talk about, well, look at the misses and things. No general manager bats 1,000. None of them. I'm telling you right now, if we can do it, we could go look at the Ravens draft the last couple of years that Ozzie Newsome was there. Ozzie Newsome, one of the greatest general managers to ever be in football. He had some misses too. He had guys that didn't pan out well. So it's like, bruh, listen, a lot of the issues that we see along the offense, we all talk about. It's like a broken record every week. It's crazy. We talk about, of course, the quarterback position because Aaron Rodgers went down, but the offensive line, him not solidifying the offensive line. But we've had massive injuries along that line too, right? I mean, can you really set up if you got to play for your, right now we're on guys like our 4th, 5th string guy. He had backups. Guys like Wes Schweitzer, he went down. I remember talking about the offensive line and being told, well, ATV is versatile, Joe, so stop worrying about the offensive line because he can go from right tackle to guard. I remember Jets fans telling me that. ATV goes down, so we lose him in that versatility, right? Even guys like Max Mitchell being injured, like all these things have flowed in. Could he really set up a situation where the offensive line could sustain that? I don't think anybody could around the league. Anybody. Nobody. A lot of these guys would suffer because they were being to their 3rd and 4th string guys. A lot of Jets fans, I think, are talking as if it's just one guy went down. No, it's multiple guys. But then even if you go to, right, the struggles on offense, which is we've seen, and again, we're missing Aaron Rodgers. If Aaron Rodgers was playing, I think the offense and the team is remarkably better. But I also think a lot of people don't give him the credit for what he's done on defense. We talk about the misses, right, the Allen Lazards, which to this point has been a miss. Right? But again, Allen Lazard was one of the top wide receivers in that free agent class. If we hadn't assigned him, somebody else would, right? But nobody talks about the world of good he's done on the defense. Nobody talks about the DJ Reeds. Nobody talks about the Whiteheads. Nobody talks about him getting Quinnen Williams re-signed, giving him a 5th-year option. I remember when Jets fans wanted Quinnen Williams traded away for a half-drinking Gatorade and a honey bun. Can you imagine if he would have given him a 5th-year option like Jets fans were screaming for him not to do, how we would have missed out on that? What about Huff? Right? Yeah. What about Quincy Williams, the guy that's playing like an all-pro linebacker right now that he re-signed for, I think, like $9 million a season? That was Joe Douglas, too. Like, there's multiple things I can talk about that I feel like a lot of Jets fans don't talk about when we talk about Joe Douglas. Has there been misses? Yeah. There's been misses like every other manager. There's been misses, right? But there's a reason why when we got Aaron Rodgers, everybody immediately screamed, it's a Super Bowl. We now have what we need to win a Super Bowl, though. If we were such a bad team, if Joe Douglas had wielded this situation, we were horrible. And again, I'm playing devil's advocate here. If we were such a bad team and Joe Douglas had wielded this team, he's such a bad general manager, how did Aaron Rodgers turn us into a Super Bowl team? Because we had the defense to put things together. Our defense has been playing phenomenal for the most part this season because the Browns was rough, the Dolphins game was rough, but we know for the last 3 years, I think, pretty much, however long Sully's been here outside of the first season, the defense has been one of the top defenses in the league, period. Even the games where it looks like where the score is not good, we know that the defense is holding up their end, but they can only go for so long. So I just think that I understand people talking about getting rid of Joe Douglas, and I'm here to listen to it. I know people talking about firing him and things like that, but I think he's done a lot of good, and people don't even talk about that. Give me your thoughts on it.
Okay, well, listen, I hear exactly what you're saying, and I understand that 2022 draft was a very home run hit. That's probably why he did get that extra year and stuff like that. That's probably why he's going to get this extra year. And listen, I already know nobody's getting fired due to Aaron Rodgers, so I'm definitely aware of that. If it was me, they would definitely from head to toe get fired from my perspective, you know. But listen, Joe Douglas definitely had a lot of, you know, he had some hits and he also had some misses. But punting on a season from game one of your quarterback going down, and you were supposed to redshirt a quarterback, and people paid season tickets. You know, people have to go to games. People have to root for these games. Joe, you have to come in and talk about these Jets for 17 weeks. I mean, come on, man. That's not cool, man. Like, and you had multiple quarterbacks coming. You have multiple quarterbacks calling Cam Newton, even RG3, he was trying to, you know, throw a little, you know, proposal out there and stuff like that of things that he would do if he was the quarterback here and stuff like that. But man, if you would have answered Carson Wentz, you had, you know, for Joe Flacco even try to reach out. You had multiple quarterbacks that try to reach out, and you didn't try to get the best product out here, knowing that your quarterback went down and knowing that you're supposedly supposed to sit down Zach Wilson to protect him and his confidence and stuff that they always do. Because he's a kid, we're you know, we keep babying him, but you know, I would definitely, you know, I definitely think he should have definitely did better with that because it was ridiculous, man. I'm just so mad of like we had so much like, you know, we was hoping to at least go to the playoffs this year, you know, like even if Aaron Rodgers was down, I felt like this team was still capable of going to the playoffs. And then on top of that, you got to put it on him for putting the staff together as well, too. Daniel Hackett, he had a bad rap sheet. You know, he was terrible, you know, and he came in here and he did the same exact thing because he's the one that hired him. I mean, even though Robert Saleh, that's his guy as well, too, he hired him as well, too. For me, if I was the GM right now, I would have demoted Robert Saleh, put him as a defensive coach. I would get Eric Bieniemy, possibly the head coach, to get some kind of offense going right now. Like, you know, this guy, I mean, ever since he left the Chiefs hasn't been really good at all. So, you know, and then he almost beat us with the Washington Redskins soon as who came in? Jacoby Brissett.
The Commanders.
Jacoby Brissett came in, and, you know, that's what I'm saying, man.
Yeah, listen, man. I love Eric Bieniemy, but that is not happening. If you talking about, I'm telling you, if you're talking about firing first, he's not gonna take a demotion. I think Robert Saleh would rather just move on. But if you're talking about firing people, and I know you already said that, I don't think that's you'd have to clean house, and I don't think that's the way that the Jets should go. I don't think that you have to have an offensive-minded coach to have an offense that can put things together in this league. I don't think you do. You can have – listen, no coach is going to be, you know, super involved in both sides of the ball. There's defensive-minded coaches that have had major success in the NFL. I talk about Rex all the time. Again, Pete Carroll's one of them. Belichick has dominated the AFC East for years. He's not some brilliant offensive mind. McDermott, the other guy as well, up there at the Bills, he's a great defensive mind, as well. Like these are quality coaches, man, that have seen their time in the league and have done a lot of great things here. I don't think you have to have an offensive-minded coach. Again, I think a lot of our struggles, and people are discounting this, is that Aaron Rodgers is not playing. That's the
but
big
what was
issue.
it be though? Just in case of him going down. What was it? Why he doesn't? This is my problem with Joe Douglas. Why he doesn't utilize the backup position? Even when Zach Wilson was a rookie, he did not utilize the backup position at all. It's like time and time again. It's like they have this hard-headed mindset of, you know, we don't have to do that. You know, it takes until weeks after for them to make a move or make an adjustment. You know, it's ridiculous, man. And then my only thing is, okay.
No, listen, and I'm going to give you the final word. No, listen, I hear you.
Okay.
And the backup quarterback, the talk surrounding that, I get it. But I remember when I was asking questions about that, and you were on the show then, Val, and I know you heard, when I was asking questions like, hey, is anybody concerned that Zach Wilson looks like he's going to be the backup and that Tim Boyle, I was told to shut up. And I was told, hey, don't worry about it because everything's going to be fine. The same way that when I asked questions about Dwayne Brown, I was told to shut up then too. And I was told that everything was going to be fine. So, and even now, even Jets fans complaining about Dalvin Cook. When he signed Dalvin, literally, if you can go back and listen to when Dalvin Cook was at the practice facility, the entire stands full of Jets fans stood up and were chanting, "Let's go, Dalvin." They wanted him to sign with the Jets so bad. So, look, I understand that there's been some guys, there's been some misses. But Joe Douglas, a lot of the things he did were in the better interest of the Jets. It's not like he was out there just doing crazy stuff like, you know, Mike Tannenbaum or Mike McCagnon was, where they were just throwing away capital and doing it. No, like a lot of these things were things that, you know, were really he missed on some of these guys, but it wasn't like some blind crazy miss. It wasn't. Now the backup quarterback position, they could have addressed that better again, and I'm gonna say it again. This is what I think. Okay, this is what I think. I think that they thought that Tim Boyle was the guy, okay, that would come in and win it, especially after Mike White went where he went. And I remember asking questions about that, and everybody was like, oh, well, whatever. And that's who they went with. But that and thinking that Dwayne Brown could be your starting left tackle, I think are the two biggest mistakes he made coming into the season. I'll give you the final word on that.
Okay, for sure. And, Joe, this is my problem, man. We've seen the preseason games. Tim Boyles was not that guy. I feel like they brought him in. Yes, he was Aaron Rodgers' friend and stuff like that. But he was terrible in the preseason. He was throwing interceptions in the preseason, so I knew it was going to happen.
Yes.
That's why everybody was like, let's go and see Tim Boyles and stuff. I was just like, man, he's not the answer either. You know, they brought him in to have a competition with Zach Wilson, and that was a layup. That was a layup. They brought in probably the worst guy to have a competition with Zach Wilson and stuff. But I do have a question for you, man. Do you feel like Robert Saleh have lived up to the CEO head coach of this team so far?
No. Right? No.
Yeah. Okay.
But here's why. This was my thing, and it's a great question, but this is my thing. I never believed that. Because it's not possible. It's not possible. It's not possible. I never. Well, listen. The reason why I don't like there was evidence they fired Mike LaFleur because the offense didn't work. If he was CEO and head coach, wouldn't the offense have been better too? Right. Like so, those like the CEO head coach thing, I get it, but it doesn't work like that. Like it just doesn't. If a guy, listen, Bill Belichick, one of the greatest coaches, as much as we hate him and the Patriots, because we do, at least I do. I'll speak for myself, okay? I'm one for Jets fans and can't stand the Patriots. But, brother, he is not an offensive genius. Like, he's not. He's not.
Revis was basically saying that that was Tom Brady mostly that helped him get those hits.
I'm not going to say it was all Tom Brady, but Tom Brady definitely, you could clearly see there's been some struggles, but, you know, it is what it is. But the idea that, you know, he's going to oversee everything, the offense has been struggling, and it is what it is. But, again, I think that we would be much better if Joe Douglas, goodness gracious, if Aaron Rodgers was here. And that's why I can't wait till next season, because a lot of questions are going to be answered then. I'll give you the final word, Val, before I let you go.
Okay, and I totally agree with you, man. And I will say, man, like I said, I've been watching the Hard Knocks of the Dolphins as well too. And I'm gonna be really brief with this. And as soon as one of their guys went down, they went out to get the best free agent, which is JPP. They went to, it's just like they make moves. And this is the thing that I don't like about this team is like when stuff is going out, we're just prolonging and stuff, And it's just I don't know if we have a real direction, and the only direction we have is Aaron Rodgers or bust, and that's what I don't like because we have a lot more situations. We got to work on this wide receiver core as well too. I feel like we still need to get more weapons. As I was calling in the beginning of the season, I don't feel like this team yet is ready to go to the Super Bowl besides the defense. But that's all I got to say, Joe, man. And thank you for having me, man. And keep doing your thing,
Absolutely.
Joe.
Listen, Val, next time I have a show, I want to hear from you. You have yourself a good one, all right?
Yes, sir. You too, man.
Absolutely. So we're going to keep moving. I'm listening to everybody, man. It's a tough, tough day, all right? It's a tough day. Browns beat the Jets 37-20. 37-20. Good Lord. I get to watch the Browns celebrate. More and more questions about Robert Saleh and his staff. It's mind-blowing. We can get into the lines again. 515-602-9639. 515-602-9639 is the number. Call in. I'm taking all callers. Next, we're going to Steve. Steve, I'm coming directly to you. For those of you that do not know Steve, he's a savage. Steve salutes. I'm going back and forth, battling with a lot of people. Browns beat the Jets and celebrate clinching the playoffs. Give me your thoughts about this game, man.
Hey, Joe. Well, first of all, thank you again for having me on your show, man. And also, once again, I'll say this too, like the other callers said, happy holidays to you.
Yeah, happy holidays to you as well, man. And happy New Year.
Yeah, man. Yep, no problem, man. Hey, but, listen, going into this game, I knew going into this game it was going to be a tough game for the Jets, After we came off of a nice Christmas win, back on Christmas Eve, beating the Commanders at home 30-28, even though the Commanders came back and scored 20 unanswered points, but we ended up getting a game-winning field goal with 5 seconds left in the game. So then we had to turn the page very quickly. We had to go to a Thursday night game in Cleveland last night against the Browns. And listen, I knew that this game was going to be a tough game for the Jets to win because, they were going into a hostile environment in Cleveland. I've been to their stadium before. Their stadium is gorgeous. Much better than MetLife. Any stadium is better than MetLife Stadium, I'll tell you that right now. But, going into that game, I just had a really, really bad feeling that in my gut that the Jets were going to find a way to probably shoot themselves in the foot. And honestly, at the beginning of the game, the defense did not play very well. The defense was very, very bad at the beginning. And, the offense in the beginning of the game, I thought was pretty decent. After when we gave up the first touchdown to Cleveland, Trevor Siemian led a very, very nice drive down the field. It ended with a nice 21-yard touchdown pass to Breece Hall. That was a nice play. We ended up tying the game, but then after when we tied the game at 7, it was just things, unfortunately, were going most of Cleveland's way. Even after when Abanikane fumbled the ball on special teams, the Jets defense did come up with a very nice stop. I was surprised that Cleveland even went for it instead of kicking a field goal, which I was shocked about. So I'm like, okay, after when Cleveland went for it, they failed. Now here's the thing. We have a chance to maybe get back in this game. Unfortunately, the things changed when Trevor Siemian threw the pick six. And then once Siemian threw the pick six, unfortunately, things, of course, were just mostly going Cleveland's way. But the only positives I will say about this game was that I thought Breece Hall had a great game. Jermaine Johnson had a great game. Jermaine Johnson is definitely showing some flashes of why him and hopefully Bryce Huff will be our future pass rushers for the future coming up. Then obviously, but the thing is, Joe, this is the thing that I'm just going to say right now. The offensive line and getting another target for Garrett Wilson. And by the way, to Garrett Wilson, congratulations to him on getting a second straight 1,000-yard receiving year for him.
Oh, yeah.
Great. Yeah. Congratulations to Garrett Wilson on that. But, Joe, the major things that this team needs to get in the offseason is this. We need to get offensive line help. Offensive line, I think, is the key thing. We need to get help, and we have to get another target for our future, for Aaron for next year. Because Garrett Wilson cannot be the most reliable target. Like, him and Breece Hall are not going to carry the whole Jets offense altogether. Everybody on that team has to contribute. And the thing is, we can't have it be just Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall doing all the work. So, those are the major things we just got to do in the offseason. With that, Joe, I will take your questions.
Yeah, listen, that was some good takes there. Listen, at the end of the day, this game to me, what was very upsetting was the penalties, right? And we're seeing the New York Jets be heavily penalized every single game, it seems like, Steve. And this is my question for you:
is have not been good with penalties.
Yeah, the whole dang near most of the season has been really rough with penalties, especially penalties in critical times to allow teams to forward their drives. Give me your thoughts on this, Steve. Like, what do you attribute these penalty issues to? Is it bad coaching? What is it, Steve?
I just think it part of it has to do with the coaching, and part of it has to do, with players just being a little inexcusable. I mean, listen, NFL players today do tend to be very, very inexcusable, but at times, like, the Jets are just doing it, like, way too much, and something has to be fixed with that. Now, the other thing I'm just going to say is, someone had mentioned this earlier on your show. When I remember yesterday, it was Rich Siemian who was asked about this. He asked Coach Saleh after the game last night in the post-game press conference. He asked him, well, Robert, why is it at times that, during the game, when the players are making a lot of these stupid mistakes and stupid penalties and all that stuff, why don't you go down to the sideline when they come back on the sideline and scream at this team? I mean, listen, when Robert Saleh said, hey, listen, you want me to throw this podium at you? Listen, when Saleh did say that, it was kind of funny when he said that. But I remember Robert Saleh has said this before. I mean, listen, and some coaches are like this. They won't yell at you on the sideline like during games, but Robert Saleh, I know in the past, has yelled at the players, like in the locker room for doing like these inexcusable things. I mean, listen, it was just, I felt that yesterday it was a little ridiculous for Rich Siemian to ask that kind of a question to him on that. It's just that at times, you know what it is, Joe? It's just that the Jet reporters just like to ask these questions to get attention.
I mean, Robert Saleh definitely was upset during that presser. You could see it on his face that he looked like he had just had it. He had it. And that question was the last question. I did see that, and that was that. But, yeah, listen, it feels like every week we stand up here and say something needs to be done about these penalties, but these pre-snap penalties are just atrocious, especially on the offensive line when you're seeing guys like Joe Tippmann had a false start penalty that hurt us. Mekhi Becton had 3 penalties in the game that hurt us a lot.
Becton had a bad game. Becton had a bad game last night. He was getting beat really badly by Myles Garrett yesterday.
But here's my thing, though, Stephen. It's great that you're talking about this. Where's the offensive adjustments then? If you're seeing that Mekhi Becton, and again, he was getting beat by Myles Garrett, who's a top pass rusher in this league, where's the adjustment offensively to put a tight end over there to at least help him? Why not? Why would you continue to go out there and allow this guy to man up with Myles Garrett and get beat like this? Where's the adjustment, Steve? What do you think?
I know.
Why do you think that there was no offensive adjustments being made?
Yeah, no. And that's on Nathaniel Hackett. Hackett has to understand that on those kind of plays, there has to be a tight end or even the fullback running back that's got to help Becton out. Like, listen, Joe, I totally agree with you. But even though when Mekhi does get help or not, Mekhi does to be better. And the thing is that, listen, Joe, I got to tell you something right now. This is the thing, unfortunately, about Jet fans that drives me very, very, very nuts. I mean, listen, I understand that for those Jet fans that are listening onto your show right now, listen, I understand it's 13 years now of us not making the playoffs, and I understand how very, very frustrating it is. But the thing was, Joe, there were just Jet fans that are times that just get out of control with this kind of thing. I mean, listen, I understand the pain. I understand how everybody feels about, 13 years of not making the playoffs. And listen, I'm frustrated as a Jets fan as well. But then here's the thing, though. And then a lot of Jets fans were actually calling me out for Sunday's game last Sunday on Christmas Eve when we beat Washington. They're like, well, Steven, why are you rooting for this team to win? Don't you understand that we need to lose to tank? And then I'm like, well, listen, let me tell you something right now. When it comes to rooting for your team, you never, ever, ever want to root for your team to lose. Nobody ever wants to root for their team to lose, even if you have the number one pick of the draft security. Nobody ever wants to root for their team to lose. And, I mean, I even remember a couple of years ago, after when Chris Johnson fired Adam Gase, when Christopher Johnson was asked about at the time when he was the owner of the team, when he was talking about, you don't want people in this building who don't want to lose, and the thing is that, listen, I understand in the position where we are at now, but at the same time, it's like, listen, I know for a fact that this year that things unfortunately didn't work out because of the whole thing with Aaron Rodgers. And the one thing I just got to say, Joe, before I let you talk again.
Go ahead. I'll give you a final word quickly.
A couple of weeks ago, when Aaron Rodgers went on Pat McAfee, and he actually did send a message to Jet fans. If you remember, Aaron Rodgers said on the Pat McAfee show a couple of weeks ago to Jet fans, listen, to the fans, I understand how the fans are very, very, very frustrated with the situation, where the team is at. But one thing Aaron Rodgers did promise, he says that in 2024 that he wants the Jets fans to be positive going into 2024, and he believes that we will have a great future coming up.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be here. He said he's going to be here for another year. He's definitely coming back. We'll see. I'll tell you what, Jets fans are not going to be positive until they start winning games, all right, and making playoffs. That's when a lot of Jets fans are going to be positive. But listen, Steve, I got to slide off. Thanks for calling in. Next time I have a show, I want to hear from you, all right?
Hey, no problem, man. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
All right, have a good one. Listen, man, there's a lot of things moving and shaking. I've been battling. We're going to keep getting to these lines. 515-602-9639. 515-602-9639 is the number. Call in. I'm taking all callers. I'm stunned, okay? I know we've been talking about this all night. I'm just blown away that there's a lack of offensive adjustments. I'm watching Mekhi Becton struggle with Myles Garrett, and I get it. Mekhi Becton is a guy we're all hoping to be a top tackle, but he's struggling with one of the top pass rushers in the league. How do you not have help over there for him? How do you not have that? How is it not part of the game plan to do whatever it takes to eliminate Myles Garrett? I just don't get it. I've seen top tackles struggle with top pass rushers before. I've seen this in the league. Where's Nathaniel Hackett? Where's it at? Keep getting to the lines again, 515-602-9639. 515-602-9639 is the number. Call in. Next, we're going to Tim. I need to talk to Tim immediately, all right? For those of you that do not know Tim, he's a savage. Tim, salutes. I want to thank you for calling in tonight, Tim. Tim, I've gone back and forth. I've been arguing with people. So many people want to fire Robert Saleh. Upset about this Browns game. I'm beside myself. I want you to give me your thoughts about what you saw from the Jets and Browns.
Where do I start? I mean, we pretty much. I mean, does it get more depressing than getting beat by Joe Flacco and Elijah Moore? I mean, come on, dude. Two guys that were on the Jets just sort of embarrassed us quite a bit, and it's got my head scratching. Like, why didn't we go after Joe Flacco, or why did we release him? Like, he's a capable quarterback. I feel like we haven't watched a capable quarterback in weeks and weeks. And if we had just maybe plugged him in a little earlier, maybe things would be different. But there's a plethora of issues here. I mean, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but here's the thing, and I think a lot of people are now, especially Jets fans, are now romanticizing Flacco. I remember he did play when Zach Wilson went down with that knee injury, and Jets fans couldn't wait to put him back on that bench. He was so old and stiff. He was throwing picks.
I know.
He couldn't get out of it. It was rough. So I get it. He played well. The Browns
sour
the Browns
grapes, right?
cooked us. Yeah, but go ahead on Bill.
Well,
Tim, go ahead.
Well, just like the last caller talked about, I mean, we've been talking about the offensive line since the beginning of the season. I don't know why we can't field an offensive line in this organization that is consistent. I just don't. I mean, okay, injuries. Okay, I get it. But look at the Browns. I forget if it was their defensive or offensive line. They were on, like, some ridiculous number of depth chart offensive tackles and offensive linemen, and they still get it done. So it's really, maybe it's a drafting issue. I really don't know. I have to assume that we have the athletic talent on the team, and it might just be the coaching. I mean, if you look at the problems that we have on this team, it's overwhelmingly on the offensive side of the ball. And the last caller had it correct when he said, Garrett Wilson, while he's, quote unquote, the guy, he can't be the only guy. And I think as soon as Lazard didn't meet his expectations, it was over. Because if you don't have a second option in this league, you're done. And you and you know what, the play calling too. I mean, I couldn't believe how little we went downfield. Now, obviously, the Browns have one of the best, defensive cornerbacks in the league and safeties and, whatnot. But, I mean, I'm talking maybe 10 plays in a row. It was Siemian to Breece Hall for 2.5 yards, and then Breece Hall would get another half a yard and get smoked. So, yeah, and did he have a good game? Of course he had a good game because he got thrown the ball underneath every single time for, like, the entire game. And one time he was able to break it for the TD, but every other time, we're punting the ball. And again, it's the same issue with the morale of the defense. Yes, the defense is capable; they're good, but they can't be playing at the highest level for the entire. They can't be on the field the whole game. It's just. Yeah. I mean, what was it like? Not even a minute that the offense was on the field most of the time. I mean, 3 and out, punt. We're not covering the punts very well. We're getting all these offensive penalties before the snap even. Siemian can't get a first down for another inch on 2 separate occasions. I just, dude, it looks awful, man. And I can't tell if it's the personnel, if it's the offensive line, if it's, but I'm going to look back at the coaching. I think Hackett's messing up, man. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know how. I mean, what's Hackett's defense? Like, we have all these new offensive tackles. They don't know the system. We got different quarterbacks. Dude, you're the coach. Like, make it work. If you can't make it work, you shouldn't be in the league. I mean, because every team deals with injuries. Every team deals with adversity. Most of the teams deal with their quarterback going down, at least for a couple games each season. And look at the Browns with the way that they had a quarterback rotating, revolving door, and look what they did.
Yeah.
They lost Nick Chubb too. Could you imagine we lost Breece Hall? Garrett Wilson would have a concussion on the next play, and then we would be done. You know what I mean?
Yeah, listen, it is tough, and I think this Browns game really did highlight the issues with our coaching. To be completely honest, mainly the issues with the lack of adjustments, defensively and offensively. Right? Offensively, clearly, because they're the most notable, right? Because again, our offense has been struggling for so long, especially this season. But even the struggles defensively, the lack of defensive adjustment for Njoku. How do you let these guys just go off the way that he was going off? And there's no, especially with no Amari Cooper. But this is not the first time he's been done like that.
I don't know what they were so scared of. Why didn't they double him? I don't understand. Like, what were they so scared of? I mean,
Tim, your guess is as good as mine. I don't think it's even that they're scared. I really, truly believe that it is, and it's like an ego thing. This is the way we play, and this is how we're going to do it. That's it. Because there's no other reason to do it like that. There's no other reason to do it like that. Here's what we're doing, and that's how we're going to do it. And that's it. Because Sauce talked about how, well, I was going to follow Amari Cooper in this game, but he didn't play. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So why didn't you just follow Elijah Moore? Shut him down. Because he had 5 catches, 61 yards, and a touchdown, and he beat Reed. Or why didn't they just have you follow Njoku? You on Njoku and then have a linebacker over or a safety, and we double him, and that's it. You're going to go somewhere else except to this guy. That's not where you're going. You're going to go somewhere else, though, if you want to make that try. That's the only thing I can say. Go ahead.
I don't know if you noticed this yesterday because it was like really minute detail, but I remember Sauce coming up on a run play, and the running back switched to the outside, the same side Sauce was on, and Sauce came down and he laid a hit on him, and the guy essentially fell down. He was basically tackled, but he wasn't tackled. And I've noticed about Sauce that he doesn't wrap up very often. Unless
None
the
of
ball
them do.
It's so annoying.
Like,
dude, like, go put your shoulder in there and put your freaking arms around the guy and take him to the ground. Like, you're not too good to wrap up and go to the ground and get dirt on your helmet.
Yeah.
Like, let's go, man. Like,
listen, the tackling against the Browns on Thursday, Tim, this is a great point, was atrocious. Ford had a 50-yard catch and run where he literally just ran through like 4 or 5 jets. Guys were just bouncing off. It was insane to watch. Our tackling was terrible, and I don't get it. And I understand the Jets defense did play better in the second half. They played better. But it was unbelievable to watch. Unbelievable to watch all that go on. And that leads me to my next question for you, Tim, because we're talking about coaching, watching all these things, the lack of adjustment, so on and so forth. I've talked to some Jets fans, and this is my final question to you, that have said, Joe, I don't think Aaron Rodgers can fix these issues. I think that these issues are much bigger than Aaron Rodgers being able to come back and the lights will turn on. Do you feel the same way?
100%. 100%. Because even if, and I'll give you this example from that game, right? You know, I think the argument is Aaron Rodgers, you know, he has a high level of understanding of the schemes. He has a high level of understanding how to diagnose defenses. Could that potentially be the X factor? Sure. But it can't be in a vacuum. Like, he has to have an offensive line to do that. He has to have more than one go-to receiver to do that. I saw somebody in the comments talking about getting a big body receiver. I couldn't agree more. Like, get an A.J. Brown, you know? Get somebody.
You mean like
with
Alan
muscle.
Lazard?
Yeah, but like Alan Lazard he isn't it, dude. You know what I mean? For $44 million. I mean, what are we doing there? He's just not it. I mean, we need a guy who basically we need a guy like Conklin size that has like wide receiver speed. You know what I mean? And we can have a second option, but it's not just it's not definitely Aaron Rodgers will not turn this around by himself. If they can potentially. Now, it is possible that if we think it's the coaching, or maybe it's because there's not enough comfort level, with Aaron Rodgers, or, you know, with Siemian Zach Wilson with Hackett's, scheme, okay, maybe that could be a difference. But if they could go into the draft and just draft offensive linemen, like 8 of them, you know what I mean? Just draft 8 offensive, 4 of them are going to get hurt for the season because we're the Jets, and then we'll have 4 left over. And then we'll maybe have an offensive line where we can actually do something. Because I do think if they just do offensive linemen and they draft one big body wide receiver or pick one up in free agency that's capable, and I stress that word, capable, we might be decent. We might be pretty good next year. But, the tackling on defense needs to be better. The offensive coaching needs to be better. The penalties have to stop. The offensive line has to be consistent, with people who are not getting injured every game. There's a lot to work on here, but I don't think it's insurmountable. I think if Aaron Rodgers can come back and stay healthy, we can add a big wide receiver to complement Wilson. And, with a really good offensive line, Joe, Breece Hall could be like a 1,500-yard running back. Yeah,
and that's why I think that this upcoming offseason that Joe Douglas is going to absolutely draft at least 3 to 4 offensive linemen, especially if we get rid of Laken Tomlinson. If we get rid of Laken Tomlinson, and again, there's a chance that Becton probably is not coming back. That's a hole at left tackle, right tackle clearly because we don't have an answer there. I want ATV moved back in the right guard. Tomlinson is gone. That's 3 positions. And honestly, even with ATV here, he's been hurt the last 2 years with significant injuries, and he's been on IR. So you have to draft a guy that's going to be able to come in and, back up for him as well as a safety measure. That's 4 guys. The Jets have to.
I think Tittman is a good foundation. You know what I mean? We brought him in.
Yeah, he's a solid. He's very solid.
Rookie year. Yeah, very solid. Very solid. A lot of potential looking forward. Mm-hmm. Just get some guys like him next to him, we were relying too much on veterans who were injury prone.
Yeah, this upcoming draft has quite a bit of really quality offensive linemen, especially at the top. I keep talking about Joe Alt and all these guys that can come in and really put things together. So we'll see, but this is definitely going to get worked on this upcoming season. Of course, Aaron Rodgers is going to be recruiting. So, Tim, I got to slide off. We're getting short on time. I want to thank you for calling in. Next time I have a show, I want to hear from you, all right?
Absolutely. Happy New Year, Joe.
Same to you. Happy New Year to you as well. Have a good one.
You too. Bye-bye.
All right, man. Listen, what a show. What a show. I've been battling. There's been a lot of things moving and shaking. Salute to all the savages in the chat, going back and forth with all the callers. I'm just listening, man. I'm here to listen and give my takes. This has been rough, man. It has been rough. There are so many things that the Jets must address this offseason. Must address. Outlaw in the chat says, punting on the season after all that hype and no plan B means backup quarterback just in case something went wrong. And he shakes his head to that. Yeah. A lot of issues, man. A lot of issues here, Man, oh, man. And again, congratulations to Garrett Wilson getting another 1,000-yard season. That's crazy to even say because his quarterback play has been so up and down tonight. So up and down since he's been here. But, man, like I say, man, the coaching. Nathaniel Hackett. It's got you wondering, man. It's definitely got you wondering exactly what is going on here going forward. What's going on here? Well, we'll see. I know a lot of Jets fans want to fire Robert Saleh. They want to bring in different guys. Salutes to J.E. J.E. says, call Jim Harbaugh, offer him a GM and head coaching job. Yeah, there's some Jets fans that are screaming that. I know Harbaugh is definitely – I think he's gotten an offer recently from his college. I don't think he's leaving that. But it's not happening. We're going to get another year at least of Saleh, Hackett, Joe Douglas, all these guys with Aaron Rodgers next year, the band's coming back together, and they're going to see if they can get some things rolling and shaking, let me tell you. They're going to get some things rolling and shaking. And if they don't get it done next year, right, if this team is not remarkably better, I think we'll see a big, big move. You might see some people get fired. Might, if it's really not good. But if the Jets make a marked improvement, I could see them trying it again. All right? We'll see as we continue to get rolling. Whew. I still cannot believe that we lost to the Browns. I'm going to close out the show now. All right? It's been phenomenal going back and forth with a lot of people. Listen, I'm the man of the people. I'm here for the people. Let me shamelessly promote my Facebook page. Everyone go on Facebook, search The Long Beach Joe Show on there, okay? Go ahead and follow me, all right? Go ahead and leave me some comments as well. I really enjoy getting that feedback from people, okay? Talk to me. I'll talk back. Let's go back and forth. I'm also on Twitter as well. Going over to Twitter, type in @The Long Beach Joe, @The Long Beach Joe on Twitter, okay? Go ahead and follow me, and I'll follow you right back. You want to troll me, no issues. I'm the troll that lives under the bridge, and I will have my jersey on at all times. At all times, I'll have that jersey on of Elijah Vera-Tucker. Another guy that's injured. But he'll be back, and hopefully he'll be dominant next season. Okay? It's been rough, man. It's been rough. Really, really rough. So go ahead and troll me. I'm also on YouTube as well, for those of you that may not know. Come on over to YouTube. All right, type in @The Long Beach Joe Show, @The Long Beach Joe Show on YouTube. Subscribe, hit that notification bell, so when I post content, you folks will be in the know. All right? And if you want to troll me, get in those comments and troll me, we can go back and forth as well. And as always, people, you see me in person, because you will, I'll be outside. I'll be outside. As y'all see, I face the people. I'll be outside, all right? I do not run. It is arms out, chest open, free hugs for everyone. Free hugs for everyone. The hugs will cost you absolutely nothing. No matter what anyone tells you, the hugs will always remain free, okay? Always. All right? I want to thank you folks for listening, watching, any way that you interact with the show. I want to thank you for doing so. You folks are the absolute best. As y'all hear, Blog Talk is hating, okay? So until the next time, until the next show, folks, you folks have a good one. Peace.
Hey, guess what? It's not as hard to start a fitness or weight loss program as you think. And I'm going to give you $100 in free home gym equipment to prove it. I'm Carl, the co-founder of Body. That's Body with an I, the health and fitness app with thousands of 5-star reviews, because our people get results. And I guarantee you'll lose 5 to 10 pounds in your first month, or you don't pay. Just sign up for a Body annual membership during our New Year's Kickstart event in the next 10 minutes, and I'll send you $100 worth of home fitness gear to help you succeed with classics like P90X, PiYo, and 21-Day Fix. In fact, we have over 120 workout programs for every level of fitness, even one for beginners only. Listen, if you don't succeed, you get your money back. But keep the $100 in equipment as my gift just for trying. You've got 10 minutes, so go to body.com to sign up now. Again, that's bodywithanI.com.
With the Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
This is your captain speaking. We've got clear runway and the weather's fine, but we're just going to circle up here a while and get lucky. No, nothing like that. It's just these cash prizes add up quick. So I suggest you sit back, keep your tray table upright, and start getting lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.